Shemayim. Okay, not Dave.
Nice.
Okay, where are we up to? Well, you got your l'chaims ready? I don't have my l'chaim ready.
Yes, I was about to say, please no talking till after the parak.
Gershon and Rambam are not on yet. Maybe we ought to wait. Okay, so Rebbe Lezer Omer, right? That's what we got up to. Yeah, we left the scene for tonight, but it's scene on the parak for tonight. So we had said in the Mishnah that the three-way machlokes, how responsible you have to be for a short time and a short muad. Right? We had said according to Rameir, you have to have a shmira ma'ula, a good watching. And according to Rabbi Yehuda had the biggest chiddush. His was that a short tam actually needs a better shmira than a short muad. And the third sheet was Rabbi Eliezer, who held that there is no such thing as a shmira for a shor muad. You're going to be, if you're in charge of a shor muad, you're going to be responsible for the muad. The only death is the only way to cure it. All right, so that's the last sheet. All right, it's okay. So Rabbi Eliezer, right, we're on Mem Bava Mad Aleph, 2 lines down from the top. So Rabbi Eliezer, English shmira elasakim. Omar Rabba. My time, Rebbe Eliezer. Why does Rebbe Eliezer say this? And it says he didn't watch it. Shuv ein lo shmira lezeh, meaning he's dashing the word below yishmerenu, is that not that he didn't watch it. It's not possible to watch it. Because once it's a mu'ud, it's impossible to watch. Right? And it says he won't cover it, meaning a bar. He says he didn't cover the bar. A guy dug a bar and he didn't cover it. Nami shuv ein lekisa lezeh. Are you going to say that it means that there's no longer a way to cover it? How could that be? Meaning, again, we're saying lo yishmerenu means it's not possible to watch it. So if that's the case, then lo yichasenu means a guy dug a bar and he didn't cover it. So then that's mashma that it's not coverable anymore, right? If you say, yeah, it means that once you dig a bar, then the only way to not be responsible for it is to put back the dirt. But just to cover it, you're going to be responsible because covers come up easily. But now, what we learned in the Mishnah, kiseo karoi, if he covered over the bar properly, and a shor and chamor fall into it, umeis and they die, potter. The guy is potter. So you see that you could cover a bar. So that's a kasha. So we change the pshat. Elam Rabaya, so Abaya says, Hainu, time of the Rebbe Eliezer, what is the reason for Rebbe Eliezer? The Tanya, Reb Nasan Omer, Minayin Shalei Yigadol Adam Kelev Ra B'Seit Beisai. How do you know that a person is not allowed to bring up a Kelev Ra, a bad dog in his house? Al Yamet Sulam Ruah B'Seit Beisai, don't put a bad ladder in the house. Shenemar, V'lo Yisosim Domim B'Veisecha, and you don't put blood in your house. Right? Meaning don't cause people to have problems. So therefore, we're learning out from that you can't have a shor muad in your house. Finished. Right? So then the question is, what do you do with v'lo yishmerenu now? Okay, that's ultimately in the Mefarshim. Right? What do you do with it? Right? But yeah, so that's the aside for the reason why, according to Rebbe Eliezer, you're not allowed to have. I mean, that a shor muad never has the shmiras, because the bottom line is, don't have something dangerous in your house. And if you do, you're going to be responsible. Right? Okay. Hadron Allah, Shosha Nogach, Arba v'chamisha. Chaim. We're getting through the hard part of we're getting closer to another parak or so of the hard parts of the Kamma. Right? Fine. Okay. Next. Yeah. Talk to Gemara. Yeah. I'm sorry. No, the Mishnah. I almost jumped the Mishnah. Okay. Shor Shenogach is a para, right? The more famous of the two prokim. Shor Shenogach Daled for whatever reason doesn't get as much coverage as Shor Shenogach is a para. I don't know why, but yeah. So Shor Shenogach is a para. And this Mishnah is a little tricky. It's not hard. It's just that the cases change. But here you have Shar Gorda Para, V'nimtza Ubra B'tzida. And you find a fetus right next to it. So the shaila is: did the goring cause the miscarriage, or did it miscarry on its own? Nafkamina being is the guy responsible for it, right? And we don't know if it before it gored it gave birth, or after it was gored it gave birth, right? And Mela, the guy who's in charge of the ox would be chayiv. The guy in charge of the show would be chayiv. So what do? You pay chatzi nezik for the para, because again the para is dead. So the para for sure the ox damaged. So you have to pay chatzi nezik because we're talking about a short time. Right, so you definitely have to pay half. Ravia nezek levlad, and you pay a quarter of a nezek for the vlad, right? Meaning, why? Because what's a quarter of the damage for the vlad, right? If he did the damage, if the goring did it, so you should pay half, right? And if the goring didn't do it, then he shouldn't have to pay anything. Right, so the pshat is because we don't know what happened here. So Mammon Amutu B'Safik is Cholkim, and you have money that's
what's Tavaraya?
Well, that's going to be the Cholkim on this. Right, very good. That's going to be the Cholkim, but this Mishnah is not going with that. Shita, this Mishnah is going with Mammon Amutu B'Safik. You split, right? Sumchus. So therefore, since we don't know if this ox killed this fetus, so we split it. Right, so you split the damages. So the most of the damages is half. Right, so therefore, gets it to a quarter.
Is this considered muhzik at this point?
Is it considered muhzik?
Especially if you hold according to Shita that you become shutfin in the animal. Is that Rikiva, I think?
What do you want to say that you're muhzik? So you mean a Cheskes Marakama? That's what you want to say?
No, I'm saying I have it into the animal at this point. It's for sure inside the I have a trees in the animal right away. I don't know what it means to have a trees in the animal right away, but there is a sheet that you become a shutuf in it, and that beside the mother. Forget about that. So once you have that trees, it makes it to say, according to Shita, that you're muhzik at that point. To a point where I would say, okay, and
what?
Anachanami, in a normal case, where first of all, it has to be in your rishus. How you most an animal that's it's middle somewhere? Is it in your rishus?
Well, it's not in your rishus.
So how you most? You have a cheskes marakama, you're not mosik in it. Especially if you already the other person has it into it beside the fact he's a shutaf inside the mother.
Right.
Who a mosik in it?
The person damaged.
It's in his rishus. He's a mosik in it.
Are they both mosik in it at this point?
No, only the one who has it in his rishus.
Who said it's in his rishus?
Where is it?
I don't know. It's damaging somewhere.
I would say it's rishus rabbi. It's carrying.
Okay, so it's nobody's rishus.
It's not. And then he went home. I mean, what? He's supposed to stay there until he figured out a based him?
No, I'm just saying he's not a mosik in it.
All right, let's.
He's not a mosik.
Okay, we're gonna get more into it as the dafim go on. We're happens. Well, I don't know if we're gonna get into the Gemara, but the Armor Farshim to discuss. Okay, but let's see. So anyway, so that's the first case. The first case is pretty straightforward, right? So again, the cow that was gored, so it's chatzi nezek, just like any other tam that damages, and the fetus is a quarter nezek because the fetus is maman amotul b'safik. So they split it, and the maximum the guy would have to pay is half. But since they're splitting the damage, so therefore he only pays a quarter. Now this next case is the opposite. A para, so far with all these cases in the Masech, there's always the shor goring. Now it's the para, a pregnant para goes and gores the shor. Talk about a non-masculine thing to have happen to you. To be gored by a pregnant cow, gores an ox, right? I mean, that's not
We said that this morning.
Taka?
It's a real wuss.
Yes. This ox is never going to live it down, right? So v'chein para shenokha es hashor. We have a para that gored the shor. Now it's a pregnant para, so the whole shadow is going to be, right? Is the fetus considered part of the shor? Because we know that a tam pays chatzi nezek, but only from the worth of the animal, right? So let's say the tam gores. Let's say the shor, the para is worth the face. What would be the case? The para is worth $1,000, and it does damage worth $2,000. Would that be right? Right. And you're going to take the maximum payment you're going to get out of it is $500, right? But a pregnant cow is worth, let's say, $1,200, right? So the question is, do you take your payment from the fetus also? Right? Normally the payment is capped at whatever half the shor is worth. Well, here it's a para that's going. Half the para is worth, right? But here, maybe you include the worth that a pregnant para is worth even more. So let's say if it wouldn't be pregnant, it'd be worth 500. Now that it's pregnant, it's worth 600. So maybe there's more payment. So v'nimtza again, if a para shenoches a shor, a pregnant para gored a shor, v'nimtza vlada b'tzida, and then we find the vlad next to it. Again, the lashon changes from before we said, what was the lashon? Ubra. Before we called it an ubra, here we're calling it a vlada, right? Then you do it and we don't know if it before it gored it was it gave birth. In which case, guys only going to get the payment from the worth of the para. In or if it gored from not a gored, it gave birth after it gored. So mishtalim chatzi nezek min para. So it pays half the damage from the para, uravia nezek min vlad, and a quarter of the nezek from the vlad, which sounds very confusing because if you take it at face value, mishtalim you get half the nezek from the para and a quarter of the nezek from the vlad. That sounds like he's getting paid 75%, right? Sounds like he's getting 75%. In which case, why should you get 75%? He's only entitled to chatzi nezek, right? So okay, we'll have to see anything more. But I'm sorry, I got to stop for 2 minutes here. I'll be back on the second. I'm sorry, not a second. I tried to. I hear you. Whose gematria was that?
Someone told me that Yisrael is 541 and Yaakov and Rivka is 541.
It's not as good as Dave's one. But, yeah.
Right.
Some of Yaakov made a good soup. Rivka definitely did. You had to get it from somewhere.
I just got to say one thing. Whoever's listening to the daf on recording, just understand that we had a little pause and then we got a little bored. It didn't just go from Gemara to all of a sudden Gematria is smack in the middle.
That's very good.
Yeah, there's a pregnant cow and all of a sudden Yisrael's Gematria this one. Okay.
I tried to rig it to get Akiva and Gershon to a machlokes, and then I would stop, but it wasn't going. So,
well, Taisus basically the first Taisus in the product basically goes through most of it.
Yeah.
All the different styles about Rabbi Kiva, Rabbi Shmuel.
Yeah.
If Cheskes Murray Kamma, if you have to be Mosik, it's a Shalom Taisus. Whether there's a din, whether Sumchus is masking that, yeah.
Akiva,
Cheskes Murray
it's
Kamma.
Yaakov's back and he's ready to start. He was wanting to do that before when he went on pause, not now.
Oh, I'm not engaging Gershon on this.
Okay, anyways, let's go back. Yeah, so again, there's two cases. The Reisha is talking about the Shar, the classic Shar, gored the Para. The Seifa is talking about the Para, gored the Shar. And the whole Shaila in the Seifa is, do we include the price, the cost of the fetus, the price of the fetus in the Para? Right, so okay, so it's pretty easy Gemara. Amar B'Yudam Shmuel Zudir is Sumchus. That's our mission is going with Sumchus. The Amar Maman Amota B'Sak with Kalkin. Sumchus is a very peaceful man, right? A very peaceful, disposition. You're having a machlokes. We have no idea who could possibly be right. There's no way to prove it. I guess video cameras maybe, right? But back then, no way to prove it. It's chalkin. You're gonna split it. The Chachamim disagree with this mission. The Klal Gadol and Din is a mitzvah mechavere olavaraya, like Naftali said. Right? If you want to take money away from your friend, the burden of proof is on you. The one who wants to take the money, burden of proof is on him. So we're asked, why do you have to say Zeh Klal Gadol Badin? Right? I mean, there's a lot of times to say Klal Gadol. Don't we have it in the beginning of the Masechta? Was it in the middle of in the beginning of Bava Kamma? Klal Gadol b'Shabbos, Klal Gadol. Wasn't that? Was it Klal Gadol we were talking about? I don't remember. Okay, either way, what's the Klal Gadol coming to tell us? It's the Tafilu Mizik Omer Bari. Right? Even if the guy who got damaged was 100% sure, meaning he's the guy, what do you call it? Plaintiff? Who's the guy that wants money? Is the plaintiff? I can't ever remember. See, I don't remember English either.
Yeah. The guy coming after you is the plaintiff, and the guy who's defending himself is the defendant.
Okay, good, thank you. So the plaintiff, even if the plaintiff is 100% sure, he says, "I'm telling you, damage me." Umazik Aimer Shema, and the mazik, the damager, the defendant, is saying is only a Shema. So you would think you should go with the Bari, the one who's 100% sure over the guy that's Mesupik. Nope, we still say you have to have proof. If you don't have proof, then you can't take out the money. So meaning, in our case, this guy that got damaged is trying to say that not only was the shar killed, but the fetus was also killed, and he should get paid for the fetus, which means he should get paid more money. So Somcha says, Taka, you know what, you'll split it, because we don't know. And the Chacham would say, no, you don't split it. The guy's got to prove. The guy has to prove that the goring animal, the ox that gored actually caused the baby to die. And if you can't prove it, then you don't get your money. Right? That's one way. Inami, the chihada itmar, this that we learned, it's a nakhan, the guy sells the shor to his friend. And then they find that the shor is a nakhan, right? Now, does that mean it's a muad? No, I think it just means it's a wild shor. Right? I think it just means that it's a wild shor. So it's a nakhan. Rav Amar Harez and Mekach Tois. Rav says it's a Mekach Tois. That's it. He has to give it back. When a guy buys a shor, he doesn't want to be buying a nakhan. Shmuel Amar Yachal Sheyamalai. The seller could say to him, "The shchita b'chavdavach. I didn't rip you off. I thought you're buying this animal for shchita. What's the difference if it's wild or not? You're killing it anyways, right?" So that's the machlokes Rav and Shmuel. What you'd say. So Amai and when I asks, why? Why should there be a suffix? V'nechsi I gavra the zavin l'radya. Is this guy normally he buys shores to plow? Or is it a guy who normally buys cows to shecht? Right? Which I don't really understand this question. What does that mean? Just because I normally buy a shor to plow doesn't mean I may not buy a shor. I might buy a shor for shchita. Or just because I normally buy a shor for shchita doesn't mean I one day could decide I want to plow?
No, but it might be the assumption. If you normally do something, then the guy is assuming that the next shore you're going to buy is for the same reason, unless you say it differently.
You mean because he's constantly doing the same business with this same guy? Is that what you're saying?
Also, why does a chazaka?
Yeah,
Why would a
right.
chazaka be ma'asimam? It's not better than a right.
It's a completely different kind of person that would buy for one or the other. The shari would supply him with 500 pounds of meat, let's say. No one person does that. Who buys a shari for meat? The butcher. That's not the same person that buys the plow with.
Wait a second. You have some very nice friends here, and they're making a siyum by Aaron's house, and they bought a big shar. How do you know? He usually buys for plowing, but they're making a siyum.
Right. I'm saying how. Right. So I think what David is saying is correct. Meaning, Gershon, what are you going nuts about? No, what's the issue?
If he was buying for a siyum, he would have shechted it and done it. He's not timing that. He's time. We're trying to back up his timing. He's saying that he didn't buy it with shechita. We're trying to prove that he did. If he would have bought it for shechita, he would have shechted it. He wouldn't have had a problem. So we're saying, but if he's a butcher, he has no taina. If he's a butcher, he bought it for meat. You can't say,
he was waiting for you to drive in from Cleveland to shecht. No.
For what? I don't understand.
Giving you the cover that you were going to shecht
it. See, it doesn't help to say that. You're just trying to. You're disproving a disproving raya.
Why?
He's just trying. All he's tining is if he was tining that he wanted the meat, he wouldn't be tining anything. He has no tina. If he does want the meat, if he did make it, he bought this shire for siyum, he wanted to check it, and now he's saying, "Oh, I wanted to plow with it, so it's a makachtos." That's not. He doesn't have. He wouldn't go to tina that. He wants it for meat, so he'd wait. We're just trying to say, if he's saying a makachtos, that means I don't want it for meat. That's his tina. I do not want the meat. I want it to plow with. And we're trying to say, maybe Hitaka does want it for meat. He's just trying to get out of a sale. So we have to really find a raya against him.
True, but bottom line is what we're making assumptions based on what.
It's not an assumption. It's just a general thing. If he's a butcher, it's very hard for him to time out. I wanted it to plow with. That's all we're saying.
No, but the guy here is tining that he didn't want a shard that's wild.
And we're tining, maybe he wanted it for meat. So now the Gemara is saying you have to prove that he would want it for meat. So proving that he's a butcher is a good step in that direction. If he's a farmer that plows and he's a vegan, there's no taina that he wanted the meat. His taina is going to be true, correct. It's going to be a mekachos.
Okay, but all right, I'm saying it depends which guy and how it goes and who's tining what. Right?
We know the two tainas. He bought an ox, and it turns out this ox is a nak. He's coming back to the seller. He's saying, "Mekachtosi, I didn't want this nak." And the original owner's saying, "What do you mean you don't want it? You wanted it for meat." The guy saying, "What do you mean I wanted it for meat? I'm a vegan." And we're saying now, no, go prove what he is. If he's a butcher, then he doesn't have a taina.
Right. Okay, but I think, all right. I'm saying it makes more sense. I think that he normally does business with him. He's a butcher, or he normally is a plower. So he didn't have a havamina to tell him that. By the way, this if he's normally a butcher, he didn't have a havamina to tell him, "Oh, this guy's a wild man," because there's assumption he's not looking to rip him off. Right? He's not looking to rip him off. I think that's what David was saying. He's not looking to rip him off. He said, you normally buy cows to buy parrot to shecht it. So I just assumed so. I didn't have to tell you. Right? Okay, but again, what I'm not understanding is so the guy could say, good, so you made a mistake in your understanding. I want to give it back to you.
Isn't that what Gershon is saying? You have to like find proof.
I'm not so sure. That's one part I don't understand. Why do you have to find proof? Why was he
No, he's
saying?
saying, meaning exactly. You could say, I don't care. What do I care? You could have used it for me. Too bad.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm saying, all right. You're saying that the default, you can't time it that it's a mecca choice to take it back. That's the point. You can't do that because we don't know. Maybe you're lying.
I think what you're saying is the Gemara's next line. He does it for both. Someone who buys for both. But if it's someone who only buys for one, in other words, he's either a farmer or a butcher, then he either has a taina or he doesn't. Or in other words, we don't need his taina to say it to mekach tos. If the guy's a farmer and you gave him an animal that's only fit for a butcher, that is a mekach tos.
Right.
And if he is a butcher, then it's just not a mekach tos. Then that guy has no taina. One way or the other, there's no taina here.
I hear. Okay, good. So anyway, so that's the question. Why don't we just see what the guy's normal thing is? We said the gavra dezava laha, which is again, what's the havamina? Talking about a guy who buys for both. He buys sometimes to plow and he buys sometimes to shed. Okay, right. So what we're saying, all right. The next thing was the next thing idemei raji l'raji, idemei nafsa salanasa. So why don't we see how much did he pay? Meaning, l'chayre, there's a difference between buying a cow for meat and buying a cow for plowing. I don't know which one's going to be worth more or less, but the point is, I mean, we're going to see from the next Gemara which one, but why don't we just see what the price was, and that will dictate to us what was expected. So my answer is, let's read the Oiker Bisra, the Kovid the Meirajia. But the basar price went up and it became the same price as plowing. So a plowing cow normally, a plowing short is normally worth much more. But here, like we have now, right? We have the butcher price, the meat prices are through the roof, right? So Mamela, the prices caught up to each other. So there's no way to know what his intention was. To which the obvious question is, if that's the case, so what's the taina here? If they're both worth the same amount, so how could it be a mekach tois? Right? When you think about it, it's a pretty obvious question. That's the Gemara in Bava Basra, the same Gemara. Right? So the question is about who's responsible for taking care of this ox or getting rid of it. Anyways, Amri, then we say on top of base, if you can't get money out of him, meaning you bought the money from the seller, you gave him the cash, and now you go back to him a day later and said mekach tois. Right? So he says, I'm sorry, I don't have any cash. I spent the money. So what are you going to do? Lishkale latura bezuzi. You take the shor, meaning or keep the shor instead of the money. Why? The Amri Inchi, because people say, Mimare Rashvasa Pare Af Ifra. From the master, really, of who owes you money, just take even junk, pari, even take brand. Meaning, when you can have the opportunity to get paid, take it, and don't, even if it means taking an animal that you don't want, or brand, or any other junk, it's better than nothing, because you have no idea whether the guy's going to ever pay you back again. So whatever it is, the Gemara is asking. So then again, if the Gemara for whatever reason is assuming that the seller no longer has any money to pay back the buyer for his mekach tois, so he's going to keep the cow. So if that's the case, the Gemara says, so what's the difference between Rav and Shmuel? The guy's going to keep the cow anyways. So the Gemara answers, let's read the I mean, he does have the money. He does have the money.
Yaakov, another reason why you wouldn't want to keep the cow is very simple. If it's a nonsense, he could end up owing a lot of money.
You mean going back to answer the other?
Well, that's the case, no? You'd have to shecht that. I mean, I guess you're saying you'd have to go through the process of shechting it, but to keep it alive is a bad idea. That's the reason why it's a mekach tois to begin with, or the tzad mekach tois.
Oh yeah, I hear. It's a good point.
So you could lose either the goof or you'd lose even more if it turns into a muad.
Right. Right. That means that that's why it would still be a mekatov. Okay, very good.
I mean, I guess you would check it because it's worth the same amount. That's the answer. You checked it. I don't know why the Gemara just
Yeah. Okay, good. So now the Gemara is saying, so what's the difference between them if you're going to just keep the shore anyways? So like, but the Igalish Talumi, we're talking about where he could take money from him, meaning he does have money. So when he does have money, then it's a shiloh, it's a machlokes, Rav and Shmuel, whether you give it back or not. Fine. Rav Omar is a mekavtois. Now the Gemara goes through why they hold what they hold. So Rav says a mekavtois zilpas or ruba, go with the majority. Ruba de inchi l'raji hotazari. Most people when they buy oxen, they buy it in order to plow with it. So this guy, that's why Rav holds he gives back the money because it's a mekavtois. So a shar that doesn't have is too jumpy to plow properly, so it's a mekavtois, and that's since that's a majority of cows that are sold, so that's it. He could say to him, I sold it to you shchita. We don't go with the right. Here's because why? Because when do we go with the majority? That's the isura. But by money, by financial things, we don't go with the majority. So we say that it's a moitzi mechaveri olav haraya.
So Rav holds you hold from like to Mina? All of Rishas? Is that what we came out with?
I don't know because then you get into that sounds like Shmuel.
Well, Shmuel is the sheet that we go with in general.
Right, but Shmuel is not like Sumchas. Right? Which, okay, but the Stam Mishnah is like Sumchas. So it's a whole.
Why is Shmuel not like Sumchas? Sumchas is talking about a case of Rav?
No, but it's a moment of multiple suffix. It's Chalkin. Here he's saying about to make a right. No?
Is this a case of Mammon or Mutzah Suffix?
Is it Mammon or Mutzah? It is a suffix. It's a little bit less of a suffix because maybe you could be Mavar to the suffix, maybe not. I don't know.
Also, is this true only? Is Rav saying this then only the guy we grew with the lesser Kamma?
I don't know. I don't know if he's which rows he says and which rows he doesn't. I don't know. Okay, let's see about it.
This is not a classic case of Moitzi Mechaveri. We're doing a switch. He's going to get the ox. I'm going to get the money. If it's a mekachtos, it's not really being Moitzi anything. It's just forcing.
Yeah. It's forcing the sale. It's reversing the sale, which means you are trying to get something out. No,
not really. It's an even exchange. No one's losing.
Then why doesn't he want to just give it back?
He wants to get rid of his nagkan. Of course, he wants to.
Okay, so then it is a moitzi mechaveri. It's not. You're right. It's not your standard moitzi mechaveri. It's not a full.
That's what I'm saying. It's not a standard case of moitzi mechaveri. So in a regular case of moitzi mechaveri, it could be Rav agrees to Shmuel. Here in this case, this is an outsider. It's not really moitzi. It's a megachtos case. It's not moitzi.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. So Tani Nami Hachi Shoshanagos Apara. V'nimtzu Urabatzida. We have a shar, right? A similar case to our Mishnah, but it's a bryce. A shar gored a para, and you find a fetus next to him. You don't know if it gored it died when it gored, or it gave birth after the goring. The paras, you pay half the nezek to the para, or reviya nezek leblad, and you pay a quarter of the nezek to the vlad. Right? That would be the first shita. Fine. So you see that our Mishnah is actually a machlokes. Fine. How do we know Hamotzi Mechaver al Varaya? Shenemar mi bal dvarim yigash aleim. This is Moshe Rabbeinu talking, giving out instructions before he goes up to what do you call it? Har Sinai, to get the Torah.
So we just said that this is not a conventional case of Hamotzi Mechaver al Varaya.
but now we're learning out Hamotzi Mechavero here. Now they're giving the real source for it.
Yeah, but it's has nothing to do with specifically with the Gemara before. It's just stam. What's the source of Metzimach, right? Just stam. What's the source? I think it's a new Gemara, not connected to the previous Gemara, right? So it says, "Mi bal dvarim yigash alein." Whoever has a bal dvarim, whoever has a court case, should go to them. Right? Who's the them again? Right, go to Aaron, right? Aaron and Chur, right? Yeah, Velazkenim, the pasuk says, Velazkenim Amar Shulanu B'zeh Hara Shenoshav Aleichem V'ni Aaron v'Chur Imachem. Whoever has a din, go to Aaron and Chur. So what do you see from that? Whoever wants to take money from somebody else, meaning if you want to make a court case, you got to go prove it to Aaron and Chur. So Masgalar Rashi, Halam Alikra. What I need a pasuk for that? Svara, isn't it a svara? The kav like ki'iva, azalei ba'asa. Somebody who has pain goes to a doctor, right? And then you go to the doctor, and you don't go to the doctor and say, "Hey, doctor, tell me what's wrong with me." That you do by a makubal. But by a doctor, you tell the doctor what's wrong with you. Right? It's the same thing. You go to Bez and say, "I have an issue with this guy. He owes me money." So why do I need a pasuk for that? Right? Okay. Ella cross. So then Ella. So what's the pasuk coming for? Ella cross. Look at the Rav Nachman. Amar Rav Baravua. Amar Rav Nachman. Amar Rav Baravua. Minayin shein niskakun Ella l'tevei tefillah. Who gets to say there? Meaning, it's more than just saying. Seems like when a guy comes to Bezdin and says, "This guy owes me $1,000," we take the $1,000 from him. Meaning, it sounds like from this Gemara that it's guilty until proven innocent. Right? Meaning, we believe. How'd you call him again, Yoni? The plaintiff. We believe.
That sounds like Beis Din. You go to Beis Din, and Beis Din takes the money from you. Yeah, everybody goes to Beis Din. Beis Din takes from this guy, and Beis Din takes from that guy. Is that what you just said?
Basically, I think that's what it is.
Yeah, well, they have to have the Gaisha courts where it's innocent until proven guilty.
Right. So it seems like yeah, we take it out the way Rashi says it. Tosfos has some kashas. The way Rashi says it is that you go to the guy and you take it away from him until he can defend himself properly. Right? Yeah, it's mamash. Sounds like guilty until proven innocent. Shenemar miba. How do you know it? Because of this pasuk. Miba dvarim yigash aleim yagish dvarav aleim. Right? You come with your words to them. Right? Meaning, and then they listen right away. Yeah, fine. So Amr Nardoi, but Nardoi says, sometimes we will give it to the defendant first. Why? What will be the case? Because Zili Nechse, where his belongings are losing value fast, meaning this guy's trying to do business. Then a big rumor goes out, and you see this taka happens in business a lot. When a rumor goes out that a company's going bankrupt, right, then people stop doing business with it. Even though it could be it's just not true. It could be somebody just has a time on them, right? So therefore, if the guy's business is tanking, then we will first go to him to allow him to be able to stabilize his business, right? And then once he stabilizes his business, then we'll figure out what the story is. Right? Fine. Okay, now for the next part, we need a little bit of basic math, but it shouldn't be too hard. If not, Akiva will explain. Right? So the second case is the para, right? The pregnant para gored the shor. So we're trying to figure out. That's using the example we said before. The para is worth 500, not pregnant. It's worth 600 pregnant. So we always take half the payment from the shor. So are we taking 250 from him? Because we don't know whether this baby was born before the goring, meaning if it gored and
Right.
then the baby was
Who
born,
killed who? The cow killed the bull. Is that what you're saying?
cow killed the bull. Correct. Then there was a fetus or a vlad next to the cow. We don't know whether that calf was born. Let's call it a calf. The calf was born before the goring or after. If it was born before, then the guy only gets his payment from the cow, from the mother. That's it. If it was born after,
Wait. Who does the calf from the cow? No.
the calf is from the cow. But the question is, was the calf part of the cow when it gored? If it was, then the cow is going to be worth more, and then the nizik is going to be entitled to more money because he gets half up the cow. And
Well,
the cow
up to isn't it up to the
up to
half the cost, up to half the cost of the bull, right? See Nezek?
Yeah.
Up to the full cost of the cow or the full cost of the cow plus the calf. That's the difference. In this case, $100, right?
Right. Yeah. But if the calf was not born yet, if the calf was born already, then it goes back to the regular standard 500. Right. So that's
if the calf was born already, then the cow was the perpetrator, and you only get $500 maximum.
Correct. Well, half.
Whereas the cow is carrying this fetus, then the cow would be inherently worth more, which was $600. And then okay, did I get that right for once?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Got it right.
Mistakes happen. Broken clock twice a day. Okay.
Fine. So, okay. So the Gemara says, so what do you pay? Chatzi nezek and Reviya nezek. So the Gemara asks, Chatzi nezek or Reviya nezek, you pay half and then a quarter. A short time only pays half nezek. So what do you now? All of a sudden you're paying 3/4 because again you're getting half the damage from the cow and a quarter of the damage from the calf. What does the entire damage minus a quarter have to do with anything here? So clearly there's a misunderstanding of what's going on here because if you read the simple reading of the Mishnah, you're paying 3/4, and that's not the case. How can that be the case? It's chatzi nezek. So Rabbi chatzi nezek, when it says chatzi nezek, is echad me'arba b'nezek. It doesn't really mean half. It means a quarter, right? And Reviya nezek, echad mishmayna b'nezek. It means an eighth. So an eighth and a quarter makes 3/8. So really, the nizik is actually losing here. Okay, what's the case? What's the pshat here? Right? If the para and the vlad belong to one person, the guy, the ox owner who got damaged, can say to the owner of the para, you have to give me half the damages, right? Because you owe me half the damages of whatever the damage was worth. You got to pay me chatzi nezek, and it's got to come out of your cow, right? So that's not really going to be an issue. But what's the case? The para dechat with vlad dechat. What happened is we're talking about a partnership. The para is owned by one, and the vlad is owned by somebody else. Now what does that mean? So since it's a partnership here, so each partner is going to only have to pay half of what they have to do, right? Meaning, if this fetus or this calf was inside the cow when it damaged, so then they're going to have to split. And this pregnant cow is owned by two people. The mother's owned by one, and the calf is owned by another. Then they're going to have to split it, right? But if the goring happened after the baby was born, then they're not going to have to split it. The shaila is, how can you prove it? So that's what he says. If the guy comes and asks for the Baal Para first, so too, he says to the Baal Para, your para for sure damaged me. Havli raya de islav shutfi. Then you bring me a raya. Listen, all I know is that your shar gored, your para gored my shar. No, that's no question. Nobody's denying that. Right? If you want to say that you can get to split some of the damage, bring a proof that you have a shutuf, meaning in the fetus or in the calf. So then that won't be. He went after, meaning the owner of the shar went after the owner of the calf first. The Omar lay, right? So then the owner of the cow could say, Galisa daita, the shutva is by you going to him first, that means you clearly hold that he was a shutuf with me. Right? So you're clearly acknowledging that there's a partnership here. Right? So Mamela, you have to prove it. And even if you don't prove it, then I'm going to just pay the portion that I have to pay, which is going to be a quarter. Right? Because from the para, he only has to pay. He has a shutuf. If the fetus was inside there, then the fetus has to pay some of the payment, right? So he doesn't have to pay the full half, right? Because he had a partner in there, right? That's the first.
If he can't prove that he has a partner, then he has to pay the whole half.
Correct, but here we're talking about where the guy went to the partner first and asked him for money. So the owner of the partner says, clearly you're acknowledging that I have a partner here, right? That's the first way we're learning it. If he went to the owner of the partner first, he could say to the owner of the partner, listen, you did a damage to me, you got to pay me. The owner of the partner tells him, but I had a shutuf for the calf. He says, what do I have to do with that? He says, you have to prove to me that he's a shutuf, right? If he proves it, then he'll have to swallow some of the price. That's the first case. Ikudamri, or the other one say, no, even if he went after the Baal Para first, he could push him off. The Amalei made the Yade Ano, the Shutfa Isli. He could say that I know that I have a Shutfa. And Mamela, I'm only chayav to pay for a quarter. So basically, the way Abaya is saying the pshat is in the Mishnah is it's nobody saying that you pay 3/4. We're talking about where there's a shutfis. There's a guy that owns the para, and then there's a guy that owns the calf. Right? There's a guy that owns the mother. There's a guy that owns the kid. Right? Not a kid. I'm sorry, calf. Right? Right before Rachamim, corrects me. Right? One owns the para. One owns the calf. Right? And Mamela, we don't know if the calf participated in the goring, because we don't know if he was pregnant, if she was pregnant when she gored, or maybe she already had that calf. So Mamela, from the para, he's going to pay a half, right? A half of his portion, right? 1/4, right? And then he's going to also pay a quarter of the calf, right? Which is really an eighth, because there you're not paying, because you have a second shutuf in there. Like again, the reason why you're paying a quarter on the fetus or on the calf is because there you have three partners. You have the owner of the shar, you have the owner of the calf, and you also have the damager, the guy that got damaged. Because again, it's the suffix, so nobody knows if he partook or didn't partake. So we're saying Maman Amukul B'Suffix is Cholkin. So therefore, each one has their own thing. Okay, I hope that was understandable. We'll do it again tomorrow, because Rava is going to disagree with this mahalach. Okay. Fine. So tell him.
Was that what happened? You went like this? That's why it changed colors?
Did it? I don't know if it worked.
The screen went dark or something.
I don't think this iPad has it. No, only my new iPad has it. Sorry, Peretz, I'll go back to that one. Okay, Pei Gimel, yeah. Shir Mizmor La'asaf. Alim Adam Elach Atech Rash Vatishkai El Ki Hnei Yevecha Yemon. Musanecha Nasu Rosh Alam Chayir Musod Yisiatu Altzmenecha Amru. L'chu v'nachidem v'goy v'lo yizok l'shem Yisrael Oid Ki Noizu v'yachta v'lecha b'sifroisu. Halei Adam v'Yishmael v'Noyov v'Agrim. Kol v'Amon v'Amalek v'Leshes im Yesh v'Tzor Gam Asher Milba Imo Yisrael v'Nei L'Tzela. עשה להם כמידון כסיסר כיאב המלאך הקישון, יש בדבר ידור הידור על האדמה. שיסיימו נדיבים וכאלה וכזה וכזה וכצלמוד וכל נסיכימה. אשר אמרו, הרשו לנו אסנאיס אלוהים. אליה שיסיימו כקאלה וכאש לבני רוח, כאש דבר יער כלו ותלמי תמים. כאינתיר דפים בסרף ובסופס כזה ועליהם, מלא פניהם כלם ורק ששמך אדוני. ויבושו ובאלו עדיה ויאכלו ויבדו ויתו כי אתה שמך אדוני לבדיך. על ירן על כל הארץ, אחינו כבית ישראל, למסנו מסער השביה. היו דמים ויום וים ויבושם מקום ירחם עליהם. יוצאים את צד לברכה מיפה ללילה משיבה דגולה. השטוב הגולה בזמן קריב וננעל, אמן.
Amen.
Alright, Psuras Toivus,
Amen.
Nacht.
Shkoyach.
So you going to Texas?
I am. It worked out really well. I met your brother-in-laws today. I'm flying to North Carolina for a